Hi, it's Thomas D here, broadcast journalist for HGView. I've been joined in our studio by Rob Cockerill just for a little bit of a chat about hydrogen. So, Rob, what's on your mind about the industry at the moment?
So many things, Tom. I think it's been an incredible quarter for hydrogen. Huge developments going on. A lot of people trying to keep pace, of course. Europe trying to keep pace with America and the Inflation Reduction Act. I'll tell you what's on my mind at the moment. Boilers. And you'll see this story on the website. I'm sure you saw the update last week. It was one of our biggest kind of trending stories in 2020 and 2021, I believe. I just don't understand why there isn't more backing for hydrogen boilers. The story we covered last week, very balanced story from Charlie. There was an organisation in the building sector that said negligible benefits and very much a slow burn, pardon the pun, to have any benefits in the sector. So I just fail to see how we're not making more of that. How can you have? I've seen these. Maybe I'm a bit biased. I've seen hydrogen-ready boilers, and I don't see why we wouldn't embrace that.
Well, I've been in the newsroom. There's been a bit of a debate about whether you see it being the future or not, and you're saying, why can't it be?
Exactly, that's the point. I'm not saying it definitively will be. It's like most of the arguments with hydrogen. We're not saying hydrogen is the only silver bullet or the silver bullet. We're just saying we think it will be a prominent part of a diversified energy mix. But when it comes to the boilers, what I don't understand is if you can have a hydrogen-ready boiler, from what I understood a year or so ago, it would be a minimal visit from an installer into an individual's house to turn it on, essentially, to change a component, and it's hydrogen ready. Why wouldn't we embrace that? I don't understand. Surely with all the new housing that we need to build in this country alone, let alone the whole continent and the world, why would we rip up the form book in many respects and adopt different, potentially more inefficient or costly heating provisions when we could just put in a boiler in the same place, in that boiler cabinet that we always know on a house from scratch, and have that hydrogen flowing? I mean, there's a question around the hydrogen flowing, but we could do blending in the grid now with an up to 20% hydrogen mix. So I can't understand why we wouldn't embrace that. But I'm sure there are far greater minds than us that will tell us the pros and cons of that. And actually, those are exact minds that we want to tap into when we hold our Hydrogen Summit, Renewables and Ecosystem Summit in London.
Absolutely, we'll be discussing it there. You say we're not embracing it. What or who is it that's causing us to not embrace this?
Well, that's a good question. Actually, I think that's a question for the whole hydrogen movement in many ways. Where is the bottleneck? If we know policy is an issue, we know final investment decisions are an issue, and perhaps the two are linked. I'm sure they are. We know standardization is an issue. We've heard it, Tom, on our webinars, haven't we, that standardization in refueling stations or pumps or dispensers or vehicle systems, we constantly hear that this is an issue, and why, quite rightly so, why would manufacturers go down a particular technology route and then another one becomes a standardized option, and they've done their money, they've spent their investment, and they're behind the curve, essentially. Completely understand that. But if we know these things, if we know standardization, policy, FIDs are all a bottleneck or holding us back, what's behind that? Who or what is holding that up? Why? I just don't understand why we're not seeing more joined up thinking and more tangible progress is what I think it is. We're seeing progress every day, and we're seeing policy announced every day. We're seeing these great incentives and huge mechanisms to make hydrogen happen. But what's stopping it? What's stopping the shovels in the ground? What's stopping these things? And we'd love to know. And again, that's what we want to hear at our Ecosystem and Investment Summit from HGView in London on 22nd and 23rd of May. We want to hear from everybody. We want to get into those discussions and find out what we need to make hydrogen happen. What comes next?
Certainly an interesting debate, and like you said, I look forward to hearing about that in London. So if that does also interest those watching, they can get a ticket for that at h2-viewevents.com.